Last question, we'll let you go. You mentioned Pat Patterson and how instrumental he was in matches. I'm working on a Royal Rumble project, and you had a couple of pretty big moments in Royal Rumbles, from the one that led to Final Four in '97 to the double win in '94. What do you remember about putting those matches together? Who helped out, and just the process of a Royal Rumble? Because it has to be a complicated situation for some people, and for some people maybe not.
Well, it's one of those things that I think when they lay out the strategy or the psychology of the match, Pat was always one of the best to lay it out. He always had a great vision. Pat was one of those kind of guys that if you had an idea and you were talking to Pat, if you said to Pat, like, how about this? And then you explain the idea to Pat. Pat had an ability to visualize what you're talking about while you're talking. Like, he could visualize it and recognize right away whether or not it would work. And like, I can remember when I first started in WWF, it wasn't a Rumble or anything, but I can remember, been there about 2 years. And I can remember Pat coming up to me and going, we were working with the Bulldogs. And he goes, I can't remember what the finish was or anything like that, but I just remember he was kind of out of ideas. And I said, how about this? And I ran a whole finish by him that we had done, used to do in Calgary with the Stampede Wrestling. And I just remember I laid it out to him. And Pat looked at me and goes, you can do all that? Like, just like that? And I said, yeah, we can do all that. We've done it lots of times. And he goes, I want to see it. You do everything you just told me, and I want to watch. I'm going to go out and watch. And we went out and did the whole match like clockwork. And he came back and he was just blown away. And he was like, I can't believe how good that match was, and how, like, you had so much in there and so much, it didn't look rehearsed or practiced. It was just, we had done it a million times kind of thing. And I think that was when, if I can pat myself on the back, I think that was when they started to realize that I was a good finish guy. Like, I was a guy that could come up with my matches, and like, you don't need. I remember with when I fought Davey in Wembley. I remember telling Vince, I went up to him, I said, do you want to know the finish? He goes, no, don't tell me.
Oh,
He goes, I want to see it for myself. I just want to go out and feel it. Like, I know it's going to be good. I just want to watch it. And most of the time that I was champion, they would give me a rough idea of what they wanted for a finish, whether it's a DQ or was a count out or whatever, the pinfall or a sharpshooter. And the rest was up to me. Like, you figure it out. You do whatever you want. Because they were satisfied that I would make it the best possible. And I always liked that and appreciated that respect that they had for me. And, with the Rumbles, it's kind of, if you're lucky enough to be in the final sort of 8 guys in there to kind of be part of the best part of the storytelling of a Rumble. It's, I think if I remember correctly, the Rumble with Steve Austin in Texas and all that, where I got double crossed and I actually won and all that. That was all, I think, Vince. And, and Steve was such a great guy to work with. He was a natural, he had a great kind of chemistry of playing his heel part, especially at that time, of being the badass kind of rattlesnake heel that he was trying to be. We always had such great chemistry together, Steve and I. Like, we enjoyed the role playing of me being I love the look on Steve's face when I walk out and he's like stunned, and he's
yeah,
almost scared that I'm coming out. And,
one of those.
so, a lot of that was Steve, a lot of that was me, a lot of that was Vince. It was just everyone gelling together and having good chemistry. And, I will say, as far as Rumbles go, I think my favorite Rumble was the one with Lex Luger, where we both went out at the same time. And, that was so hard to do. I mean, if you really think about it, like, you can both go over the top rope, but you have to land exactly the same time on the ground. It has to be done perfect. And there's no way to guarantee that. There's no way to ensure that. There's this, and in fact, they didn't film it. They filmed it and they didn't show it because they didn't want anyone to go, oh, well, Bret Hart hit the ground like he's like way ahead of Lex or vice versa. But I always give Lex credit for that. If you watch Lex, the way I go over the top rope, Lex grabs me and we just flip over the top rope. And, you know, it's great athleticism that both of us landed exactly. I remember they showed it the next day, Vince and Pat, they were so, you know, we didn't want to show anyone the camera angle. But in fact, we can show the camera angle because, you know what, you both landed exactly the same time. And that's the beauty of two guys that are good athletes. Lex was always a great athlete, and you know, just two consummate professionals in there.
They tried it a few years later with Rock and Big Show, and it just didn't work. One of them hit before the other one. It's hard to time. And then they accidentally did it, I think, 11 years later with Cena and Batista, where one of them was supposed to land first. So I think you guys are the only ones that have timed it perfectly thus far in the Royal Rumble. That's quite an achievement.
Well, I give all the credit to Lex on that one because if you watch it, I just sort of grab him and he does the flip. And I remember when I was falling over the rope and going to land, I remember trying to pull my feet up. And I'm sure Lex was doing the same thing because I didn't want my feet to be first. And we both hit the exact same time. It's pretty much a fluke. Impossible to if we had to do it twice, I don't know if we would have done it twice the same way.